We now have TVC News Uzonna Ononye join us on the program to analyze Anambra governorship election since 1999. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for having me. We'll just be focusing on one aspect of the election, and that is voter turnout since the return of democracy in 1999. So the first election that took place in Anambra State in 1999 had registered voters 2.2 million. And out of this, total votes cast 1.1 million. You can see the numbers there. And then that is 46.35% of the total registered voters were part of that election. I would like you to pay attention as we take this, progressively. That was 1999. Remember that this period was when a lot of people wanted the military out of the way by any means, and so it's not surprising to see that this high percentage of people came out to vote. High in the sense that as the years go down, the numbers may change, but let's not make that conclusion yet. And then we come to 2003. We have 1.8 million registered voters. Why did we have a reduction from 2.2 million to 1.8 million? We will find out as we progress. But in this election, 878,000 came out to vote, which was 47%. Still high, right? Still quite encouraging. But after this election, certain things began to happen and the dynamics changed, and that brought us to 2007 election, where we had 1.8 million, again, total registered voters. There was no record of how many people how many votes that were cast in this election. This election is key in Anambra State.
Absolutely.
I will explain. Now, there were over 63% over, because we can't be specific when there is no accurate number of people that voted in that election. But note, a political party, only one political party had over 1 million votes in that election. One political party had over 1 million votes in that election. Now, this election didn't stand because a few weeks after the candidate was sworn in, the Supreme Court annulled it to say that the man that was governor here remains the governor. This election is key in Anambra State because when the preparation for this election was going on, Mr. Peter Obi, who was the governor here, insisted that his tenure was not over due to the judgment of the Court of Appeal then that was given in 2006. That he insisted that having been sworn in 2006, that by 2007, his tenure wasn't over. INEC went ahead to conduct that election, and the entire thing that happened, let me just point out one of the things that happened in this election, this particular election in Anambra, was that INEC declared the figure for the results, and the journalists that were in the room did a quick calculation and discovered that the total was more than the total number of registered voters. How that happened, they are the ones that can only explain. And quickly, INEC went back, did a further adjustment of the numbers, and came back and re-announced the result that now became lower than this. But up to this moment, no official record anywhere of total number of votes that were recorded in this 2007 election. And then 2010, 63% here. And then we come to 2010, 16.33%. Can you imagine the change?
Decline.
Drop.
Now, there was something also that people noticed in this election, 2010 election. Each election appeared to have its own things, elements that will stand over the test of time or people's memory. In this election in Anambra State, after this election, people began to pay attention. Now, in this election, the voters register in Anambra had Mike Tyson picture. It had Professor Wole Soyinka's picture. It had Pope, which Pope was then, the Pope that was in office then. It has his picture, because when the voter register will have the person's name and the picture and all of that. That suggests that the voter register being used in this election was highly manipulated. And that led to a quick adjustment by INEC that in the next election, that was 2011, remember that Anambra State governorship election has gone off the regular general election after 2007 that the Supreme Court, held that the man that was governor previously had not elapsed his tenure, and so the off-cycle process began. And so 2013 was the next election. The percentage was 32.7%. 2007, 19.86%. Are we taking note of that?
Yeah.
Percentage turnout. The number of registered voters has taken a different turn entirely after those strange names like Mike Tyson, as I mentioned, were taken out of the voter register. The voter register took a different turn entirely from following elections. And so we now got to 2021, which was the election that followed, 10%.
Which was a sharp decline from what
very sharp decline. A lot of people have tried to put together factors and reasons why percentage turnout, I choose to use percentage turnout of electorates during elections, had continued to go down. If you think very well, the answers may not be far away. Some people say that lack of confidence in the electoral process. Why would I go out to waste my time to vote when the votes cast may not determine the winner of the election or the person that will be declared the winner of the election? And so some people choose, I'm not going to get involved, and they choose to stay at home. Insecurity is also a factor that will determine how many people that will be able to come out during elections. In this particular election, some parts of Ihiala local government area didn't conduct election on the first day. It has to take remobilization of security agencies and security forces to go in a day later to conduct election in some of the areas that could be assessed. That was the scenario in 2021 that led to this very poor turnout. Imagine where 10% of the total number of people that voted determine who will be the governor. This 10% does not mean that they all voted for the winner of that election, remember? This is 10% of the total number that actually participated in the election. So when you now check, the people that voted for who became the governor will be less than 10%. And that is the picture that played out, not just in Anambra. If you go through the results of all the successive elections since 2007, 2007 is key. 2007 election was key in Nigeria. I mean, it's key in Nigeria under the chairmanship. INEC was under the chairmanship of Professor Maurice Iwu. It's key because a lot of things happened. After that election, remember, that was when the Court of Appeal changed the winner of Edo, Ondo, Osun, Ekiti. All those states that began to have off-cycle election came after 2007. So that 2007 election remains key in the electoral history of Nigeria. And now, we are here. This is where we are now, with 2.8 million registered voters. We are not sure what this is going to be. We do not know what this is going to be. I mean, the total people that come out to vote and all of that, the percentage and all of that, we do not have those numbers for now. But what we know is that the number of registered voters is at an all-time high. Whether this will also reflect in the number of people that come out to vote is a question that we're yet to see. Now, what are the elements that will determine the changes here, if there's going to be any? One, again, is security. In the last few weeks and months, yes, there's been high level of security engagement in Anambra. Those criminals were being busted, arrests were being made, some people were unlived, whichever term you want to use, and there has been an improvement in the security of lives and property in Anambra in the last few weeks and months. Will that play a role here? We are waiting. That's the question. We'll find the answers as the days go by. And then the percentage turnout. Again, there's a new chairman for INEC. Will this boost the confidence of the people to see, okay, let's go and give it a try again? Yes, we've not had it right over time in the last years, but with this man now, let's try and see whether he will come with a different outcome at the end of the day. Because whether we like it or not, you guys have been discussing all day about some of those things that play out during elections. I hear Mr. Chris talk about the agege bread loaded. The agege bread that is loaded. Yeah. How those things influence the election. It has come in different ways. Remember, before we got to this point, it used to be ballot box snatching.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Who snatches ballot box again? Nobody snatches ballot box because there's an improvement anyway due to the introduction of electronic verification. So if you verify, if people come for accreditation and out of, for instance, 2.8 million, the entire state, you now have people that came out for accreditation and they're about 1 million. There is no way the result will be more than 1 million. And those guys that do the thumb printing will not have that information of the number of accredited voters. They won't have that information when they are doing their thumb printing behind the one school classroom. So if they come out with a ballot box, snatch what is there and put in, and then at the end of the day, it's more than the accredited voters, the whole thing will be wasted. So they change strategy. One other area that have affected the outcome of elections or how people take elections seriously in Nigeria is the quality of politicians that we have. Because serious-minded people know from what they say. If you listen to some of the campaigns, if you listen to some of the candidates address the people that will vote for them, you'll be wondering, what exactly is he talking about? What exactly? Many of them would engage in verbal attack on one another without necessarily selling themselves. So all of these things will be tested today.
Absolutely.
As we get towards the end of the day.
So now we have 2.7 million voters that collected their permanent voter cards in this particular election. The numbers quite impressive at the moment. So are we likely to see any change in this concerning voter turnout? The INEC chairman has promised a free, fair and credible election.
Similar to promises made by all the INEC chairmen in the past.
Now, is this a litmus test for him? Can he be judged based on the fact that he was sworn in 16 days to this election?
The person that will make a difference can make a difference in 1 week, no matter how little the difference is. It might not be a huge difference. But let me just give you a very quick example, which many of us still find a bit funny. After the 2015 election, by May 29, President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in. He didn't appoint ministers. He didn't say much. But remember, things were changing in certain areas, and people termed it the body language.
The body language.
Now, if the INEC chairman, the new INEC chairman, comes in with a bold body language that this is a no-nonsense era, there will be changes. Whether they will be huge or quite little is insignificant at this point, but there will be changes. Then going forward, we'll now be able to measure how impactful it has been.
All right, very interesting development there coming from analysts talking about voting since 1999 in Anambra State. Many thanks, Mr. Uzonna Ononye. Your reaction to all of this?